next day. I showed up the next day with Rhonda, with my mom, and that's when they said that I was in the home, and they decided we would be moving this to family court. We decided that because I was in the home.
Okay.
I filed for custody.
You filed for custody,
Yes.
in other words. You filed for custody, all right. Well, let's get into this. Why did you, at that point, file for custody?
I filed for custody because Gabriella had no relationship with Lewis. I wanted her to feel comfortable and for him to come into her, what she knows in her life, and for her to develop the comfortability with him. Therefore, she would be more comfortable to go with him and be with him, and they can develop a relationship and go from there.
So,
They can have a relationship.
so this is important. I want you to tell the court.
And I was concerned.
Hold on,
Mhm.
stop.
Mhm.
Because you just testified that you felt it was important for Lewis to have a relationship with her, I want you to tell the court what efforts you made to facilitate the relationship in 2018. What efforts did you make to facilitate a relationship between Lewis and Gabriella?
I would send him pictures of her on Facebook.
Okay, how often?
I would say every
Ballpark.
3 days to a week, yeah.
So your testimony is you constantly, if I can use
Yeah,
that
it was
word.
submitted.
How, and what kind of communication were you having with Lewis about Gabriella during that time?
I would just update her about her
Okay,
numbers, her learning, her counting, just new things that I would see about her that I feel that he would admire and he would like to hear.
All right, so how did you communicate that? Only through Facebook?
Yes.
Through Facebook. And if you recall, what were his responses?
He would in the beginning he would respond. That was since Nevada.
Sure,
Yeah.
since Nevada.
He would-
All this is correct, after she has moved from Pennsylvania to Nevada, correct?
In my opinion, or things he would specifically say.
What impression,
He was not interested.
why do you say that?
He could care less.
Why do you say that? Why?
He would not ask questions about his child.
So you would send him pictures and things like that? And if you can recall, generally, what were his responses?
He would just be like, he would just read them. He would leave them on read every 2 or 3 days. He would respond, and then he would get mad. Then it would just not be good.
Did he tell you why he was getting mad?
No, I don't want to say it, but the person who he was not allowed to talk to me. He felt that my mom had my kid, and someone felt there was no need for us to communicate because they were saying I was not with my kid.
So
2,400 miles away.
So for the second half of 2018, where did you live?
In Nevada. I left, only time I left was
Where?
June to July. At 2830 South Decatur Boulevard, apartment 14, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89102.
And who lives there?
My mom, my brother,
Okay,
my
that's
uncle.
what I'm getting at. So you, for the second half of 2018, your testimony is you lived with who in that house?
The
in that apartment?
entire year I was there, just not
Okay.
June or July.
Who
My
was
mom,
in-
my brother, my uncle, my Gabriella.
And Gabriella. Okay.
Yeah, and myself.
So, hold on. You lived with Gabriella during 2018, except for this brief period of time when you went back to Pennsylvania.
Correct.
All right. So, you obviously, how often did you see Gabriella?
Every day.
Okay. When you would, did you tell, you just testified that, did you communicate with Lewis that you were living in the same house as Gabriella?
He knew
Did
that.
He knew it?
Yeah, he was
Why do you
informed.
say he knew it?
We would update him about his child.
That's what I want to know. So how often did you update him? Well, you testified, excuse me, strike that. How often did you update him?
Consistently.
And do you recall when, if ever, he asked follow-up questions?
No.
Never?
Never.
Your testimony is that he never was interested?
Until recently, until court on the Talking Parents app. Or saying that he was not told something. He would just say, okay.
And if you recall, how often did Lewis visit Nevada, to visit Gabriella in Nevada in the year 2018?
Never.
You heard Lewis testify that he, and I'm gonna quote him now because I watched the video the other day, that he let slide that he got no visitation with this child in the summer of 2018, correct?
Correct.
What steps, if any, did you take to encourage him to see Gabriella during the summer of 2018?
Objection meeting.
What steps?
I approved.
No, overruled. Go ahead.
I approved. If he said he wanted to take his child, he could have.
How did you approve?
I said he can, and I told Rhonda Forsberg, they called me on the phone, and I said he said he wanted Summers originally. That's why I filed for custody, because he was saying he wanted Summers,
Okay.
and then the guardianship was just bringing to the equation.
So why, as far as you're aware, why didn't he have any visitation with Gabriella in the summer of 2018?
Choice.
He also testified, if you recall, that he didn't have any visitation in the summer of 2019,
Correct.
correct? So what efforts did you make, skipping ahead, to encourage Lewis to have a relationship or to come out and see Gabriella in the summer of 2019?
I've tried to make a decision with him outside of just for, like now, I've tried to come to a decision. We could have came to an agreement and he could have his
No,
sixth.
Stop, you're not
It's
answering.
fine.
Summer of 2019. You heard him testify that he didn't have any visitation,
No.
that he let it slide.
Yes,
Correct?
correct. Mhm.
So what effort did you make to encourage him to, in fact,
I
see
gave him permission.
Gabriella?
I gave him permission.
Okay, well, I'll leave that alone.
I could have
To
bring
your
her,
knowledge,
flew her.
in
anything.
2018,
Mhm.
Okay, I'll leave that alone, hold on. Tell the court what well, let's talk briefly about, you mentioned earlier in passing that something about guardianship for Maria?
Yes.
You testified, what happened in terms of Maria, your mother,
Mhm.
becoming or attempting to become a guardianship of Gabriella?
Yes, it was temporary guardianship, and it was for school and dental purposes. If I was
So
at work,
when do you recall approximately when that was?
I'm not sure, July.
And what was your position with regards to Maria obtaining a guardianship of Gabriella?
Open.
What does that mean?
I believe he signed it.
Did you approve, in other
I
words?
approve.
Okay, why did you approve or feel, strike that, why did you feel the need to approve a guardianship for Maria over Gabriella?
The places want like a letter all the time. Some places do not want the letter. It was just easier to sign it over for her when I was working.
Okay, so your testimony is that you were working,
Yes.
so,
Well, no, if I was busy, if I was working or anything, and she had to take the baby anywhere to any appointment, she could go ahead and do that.
and And why wouldn't you be taking the child to these appointments?
If I was not available, if I was at work.
Okay. Ultimately, what did Maria ever get, well, back up. To your knowledge, what conversations, if any, did you have with Lewis about your mother obtaining some kind of temporary guardianship?
None. We would not have conversations.
Okay. But you told me that you reached out to him on Facebook, didn't you?
That was in the beginning. He had cut off all communication.
So tell me about that. When did he cut off all communications with you?
Last year, it was say 2008, not last year, I apologize, 2018, approximately October of 2000, yeah, around there.
All right, well, in your opinion, based on what you know, why did he cut off communications with? Did he tell you? Strike that. What did he say about or before he cut off communications with you?
His fiance had got involved and said that I only want to talk to him about like certain stuff and that basically the kid's with my mom and there's no need for us to talk.
Okay.
And I just left him alone then.
Okay. So as far as you're concerned, he did not communicate with you any further about Gabriella?
No, he would always go through my mom.
Okay. And did
Preferred.
you, after he cut off communication in October of 2018, what efforts did you make to continue to talk to Lewis, if any, about Gabriella?
He would, him and my mother he would choose to talk to my mom. He would prefer to talk to my mom. That's who he wanted to deal with. He would not talk to me.
Okay, but at the time, just to confirm this, where were you living physically?
With my mother.
So you were there with everybody in the same house?
Correct.
Everybody meaning you, your father, your mother, and Gabriella, and I think one other relative,
Her
correct?
uncle and her great uncle.
So
Correct, yes.
you
living.
were living there.
Correct.
Now, do you recall if you know whether Lewis knew you were continuing to live with your mother
Yes.
and Gabriella?
Yes. My mom was in active communication with him.
Okay. And your testimony is, despite that, he didn't communicate with you
No.
about this child? Okay. Well, let's talk about briefly, you testified that your mother, I'm just gonna finish up with this, that your mother did not obtain an actual guardianship, I think. Why?
She did not want to. She only needed temporary.
And when did that need for temporary go away?
When court was filed when we went to court.
So what happened in court to eliminate the need?
No, I mean, we filed a paper. The school, there was an issue with the school telling us to file a guardianship paper. That was the recent one.
What school?
There was one filed in 2018 and there was one filed in 2019, if I'm correct. The school had said due
What
to
school?
pickup and Head Valley, Spring Valley Head Start,
Head Start.
Head Start,
Okay,
Spring Valley.
because how old is she now?
4 years old.
Okay, so it wasn't regular elementary school,
No.
correct? So, let's talk about this for a minute.
Mhm.
Whose idea was it to put her in Head Start?
Mine.
When did you decide to do that?
Gabriella was in Head Start in 2018 too.
Say again?
Gabriella was in Head Start at 3 years old
Was
in
in Head
2018.
Start.
Yes,
Okay, and who made the decision to put her in Head Start?
I did.
Why did you make a decision to put her in Head Start?
I wanted her to have an advancement and get started early, and so she could excel in life.
What conversations, if any, did you have with Lewis about her being in Head Start?
My mom would inform him.
So, how long was she in fact enrolled in Head Start?
Last year and this year, 2018 and 2019.
Okay. What conversations since then did you have with Lewis about Head Start?
Gabriella, I'd like to clarify on that more, but I told him about, it was submitted and for the dental and the physical. I told him she was getting her 4-year-old shots, and he was aware that she was starting school. He didn't, at that time in January, he did not have an issue with the school, to my knowledge, until later on in the year.
When you say school, you mean Head Start?
I'm sorry, yeah, Head Start, and then later on in the year, he had an issue with it.
Okay, what issue, to your knowledge, what issue did he have with her being in Head Start?
He started an issue about school clothes. He did not want her in Head Start.
School, what?
He did not want her in Head Start, and he turned it into an argument regarding school
What did he
clothes.
say about why he didn't want this child to be in Head Start?
He didn't say why. He just said, I do not want her in Head Start.
Well,
We have messages
did you
and a
ask
video.
him?
No, he was talking to my mom. I was there, and I was there, and I said, like, he ended up arguing about about the school clothes. He just said,
Clothes?
yes,
Like the clothes that she's wearing?
Correct.
Why, what argument was there about school clothes and Head Start?
I asked him if he wanted to help out, and he started an argument to not help out.
Stop for a minute.
Mhm.
What requirements, if any, for a uniform was there at Head Start for Gabriella?
None. He offered to buy her like utensils and supplies, but she's in Head Start. She does not need that. That was when he came to Nevada. He'd bring it back up
Did
if
Lewis
he could
ever,
help, and then he did not.
what did Lewis, if anything, communicate with you about objections that he may have had to putting this child in Head Start?
He communicated with my mom about it. He did not want her
What
in Head
did you
Start.
learn about why Lewis objected to this child being in Head Start?
Give me a moment. I was not aware that like she was only in Head Start for 3 weeks.
Why?
It was why did it work out? I'm drawing a blank. With the schooling, Rachel Jacobson said it was not important. She had said that she was missing. She asked if she was missing days with her flying to Pennsylvania.
Objection, Ms. Stace, facts not in
It's
evidence.
non-responsive, there's another number.
It was said in the courtroom that basically that she didn't have a connection with Nevada is what that she was getting at from what I assumed.
Okay.
So that school was not important to them. That was only Head Start.
What was your feeling about the importance of Head Start for Gabriella?
When I asked them, when I signed her up, I thought she would be learning. You know, you could benefit life skills from Head Start, but I thought that she would be learning. I had spoke to the school, and they said that she's not learning any like curriculum. Only basically what I teach. She's learning the same stuff I teach her at home.
Okay.
And it was just hard on her to be out of school every day.
Okay.
She had went through a lot when she had left.
Okay.
To adjust to going to school was hard for her. When she was home with her family, she began to get better and learn more.
Well, okay. Now
I wanted
let's
to
just
prepare
follow
her.
up with that.
Mm-hmm.
What steps do you currently take to facilitate or to encourage this child to get an education?
We have learning time every day.
Tell me about that. Tell the court about what learning time is.
We put on like she has her nursery rhymes to teach her. She has all her nursery rhymes. She sings. She ABCs, her numbers. We work together. She currently knows how to write her G, her A, and her B.
Okay, so how are you involved how have you been involved with helping her with this initial education in her life?
Everything. We work on our
Not we.
letters.
I'm asking
We
about,
read together.
when you say we read together, are you talking about you and Gabriella?
Correct.
Okay. What is her favorite book?
She likes Go Dog Go. She likes Princess Sleepyhead. She has a lot of books she likes.
Okay, and you read those to her?
Yes.
Okay. What else, what other activities do you participate in terms of her education, for lack of a better term?
We go to the library.
What does she like to do at the library?
She plays with the kids, they have like a kitchen and stuff like that. We will pick out a book together. We read the book.
And what about other lessons?
I just basically prepare her for just like
Well,
kindergarten.
what if anything do you do about
Simple
teaching her basic math?
She does do basic math. She counts. I'm teaching her the fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. She doesn't grasp it, but I'm still trying to install it.
What tools, if any, do you use to help her learn math?
I'll just count with like any opportunity. Like if we're eating grapes or something, I'll put 2 and 2. She usually isn't interested, but I still try.
Okay, so.
We're introducing the math. It's not as
Okay.
complicated.
So how long have you been doing that? with her?
For about 4 months, I was more concerned like about the reading, and then I decided. Then that's when, since she started
Okay.
like,
So, what efforts did you make, or what efforts did you make to contact Lewis about her progress in learning how to read, learning how to do math?
I would send him a text like periodically, even though I was not like allowed to talk to him. I would send him a text periodically, and I would inform him like this is her progress. She's counting like 2 numbers ahead. She's learning this. She said this. She's very smart. I would just update him about.
And you would
His
update
child.
him?
Yes.
Okay, and what was his
Very rarely.
responses, if you recall?
That's good.
Okay. That was it?
Yeah, that was from like a phone number text, like
Okay.
once or twice.
How, what do you observed about, I mean, you testified that your mother has been very helpful to you, correct?
Yes.
And your mother testified about how she is, I think this is a fair summary of how involved she
Very
is
involved.
in Maria's life. So why don't you tell the court how your mother helps you with the care of Gabriella?
Gabriella and my mom, like the care, like their relationship, they have their own little language. Gabriella looks forward to her grandma every day. She provides care for her by helping me. I'm a new mom. I'm 22. This is my first child. Any opportunity she could take to just show me, this is the right way. This is what you do with kids. She'll promote. She's the one that like showed me, started to get her education going and stuff like that. She'll remind me what to do, like as a mom who's done it before, and she'll assist me with raising. She's been assisting me with raising Gabriella productively.
So briefly, what have you observed personally about Gabriella's relationship with Maria?
They have a beautiful relationship. They have one of a, like, they have their own little language. They joke, they laugh, they cook, they do everything that I do with my child.
So you
I'm not understanding.
testified that for some reason Lewis does not contact you or only has minimal contact with you about Gabriella, correct?
Correct.
So what do you know based on your own knowledge about what kind of contact Lewis has with your mother about Gabriella?
They communicate until recently, until May 22nd hearing, he's began to, not until the app, we've been co-parenting. But he continued the back and forth throughout the trial since May.
Who's been co-parenting?
Me, Lewis and I, since the Talking Parents app that
Okay.
we recently got.
So let's briefly talk about your efforts to co-parent more recently about Gabriella.
His efforts.
Say again?
I've been the effort. I've directed my mom to just to avoid like confrontation.
Is it your testimony now that you are doing more co-parenting with, is that what you're trying to say? With Lewis directly?
He's doing more co-parenting now. Yes, he's allowed us to co-parent more through this app. This app has benefited us for parenting.
Okay, so I'm not sure what you mean when you say he's permitted that. What?
Like he's tried to. We've actually been talking now because we did not talk, and now we've been talking on the app about Gabriella.
Okay.
And, best interest. We tried.
Now, you heard Lewis testify that he has concerns about your ability to care for this child, correct?
Correct.
What do you think about his assertions that that he's concerned about your ability to raise this child?
He sees us play together, he sees our relationship, he sees his child is on a good level. She's a very smart, excelling girl, and she is, there's nothing he would have concerns about. He knows she's in a safe home, he's left, you know, a safe, nurturing, like, positive home, he's left her there for 4 years. He knows she's a good girl, he knows I'm a good mom, and that's my interpretation. That's what I think.
Okay. Selena, why, and I want you to be specific, okay?
Okay.
Why do you believe it is in Gabriella's best interest to stay here in Nevada with you?
Gabriella, I promote, like, morals. I promote, I just, I want the best for Gabriella. I provide you know, a good environment, a positive environment, a learning environment that she may need for the future, and I've been providing for her, for food, for shelter, for clothing. It's been stable, and I provide a great life for Gabriella.
If the court decides that Gabriella should remain in Nevada,
Yes.
okay, what steps, tell the court what steps you would take to promote a relationship between her father and Gabriella?
I will do anything. I have family that can help fly her. I have family that can help raise her for babysitting, and you know, I have family that can help to make it easier on him, for Gabriella and him to maintain a relationship with, you know, considering the distance. And I will promote any time he asks, I will grant, as long as it's in the best interest of Gabriella. Any time that he says he would like to see her and it's okayed, I'm willing to provide the child and do what I can to make it easier on him and Gabriella. I have provided the child, I'll continue.
If the court decides to keep Gabriella here, what kind of visitation schedule do you envision for Gabriella and Lewis?
Las Vegas is very, you know, they have a lot of flights that come in and out. It would make it easier for him to fly in on the weekend while he's off, if he has like a 4-day weekend or anything. I would say once a month he could come for a weekend. You know, that's what I would promote, but every 2-3 months, any chance that he could see his child, it would be easier for him to commute.
And are you telling the court that you will take steps to coordinate that visitation?
Correct.
You will actively help, okay, facilitate the relationship between Lewis and Gabriella?
Correct.
Tell the court briefly how you intend to keep Lewis informed if she stays here, how you intend to inform Lewis about her health, education, and well-being.
We utilize the Talk a Parent app, but I would appreciate if we could have more mature conversation to discuss just anything about Gabriella and how she's doing, what we notice, what we can do for, you know, what for her, something that we do notice. I would just like for us to communicate more for Gabriella regarding just things that are about her that need to be discussed.
Okay. Thank you. You heard testimony about possibly Gabriella being on the autism spectrum. Do you recall that?
Correct.
What can you tell the court about what you know about Gabriella possibly having some level of autism?
I tried to get her tested through Kavanaugh, but they had wanted a letter from the court. And I have,
Who's
I have,
Kavanaugh?
it's a doctor, it's for neuropsychological.
When did you observe, or when did you decide that she might be suffering from autism?
Gabriella came out the womb,
Out of
pulling-
the womb, did you say?
I'm
In other
sorry.
words, at your birth, at her birth?
At birth.
Okay, sorry.
Gabriella would pull her hair so bad that she would hurt me looking at her. She would pull her hair, she was like very fidgety with her head. Gabriella would, what would she do? She would have terrors, very bad night terrors.
Well, when did you decide to have her tested or go to Kavanaugh, as you said?
I thought she was too young for them to properly diagnose her, and I decided to have her tested because she has, she would grab stuff since a baby. She'll grab stuff and shake, and she just, it has not gotten better. And as she's gotten older, she had like a speech problem. That was my number one sign.
Well, when, if ever, did you communicate these concerns to Lewis?
Yes, he feels it personally
What did
affects
you
him.
Say
He's
again?
he's in denial. He feels it personally affects him. If
I'm
I
not
try to
sure. Hold on,
discuss-
let's break that down. You communicated, I think your testimony is, that you communicated with Lewis about your concerns that your daughter may have some form of autism, correct?
I've said it previously in the past, and my mother has
That's-
notified him too. Mhm.
Okay, so you
Since the
did
baby.
talk to him about this concern of yours, correct?
Correct.
What was his response?
No, he was in denial. He said it was not true. He did not believe it.
So he doesn't believe there's a problem with, there's a possibility that she has autism?
He agreed during the school meeting, and he agreed in court, but despite that, no.
Hold on, what school meeting?
The school meeting, they just asked a few questions about Gabriella. He
When-
agreed at the end. He
when
didn't.
was
He didn't
this?
beg to differ. That was August 30th of 2019.
Okay, 19?
Yeah, it was a home
And-
visit at the school.
So was this the Clark County School District here?
Yeah, it was the Spring Valley Head Start of Nevada.
It was Head Start,
Clark
okay.
County, yes.
So who attended that meeting?
Lewis and I.
Okay, Lewis was here at the time?
Yes, he called at 12:30. The appointment was at 2:15.
Okay. And you guys went?
Yes, together.
And
Yes.
what did you learn at the meeting?
They had told me that
Just tell us what you learned at the meeting.
Testing
without
was-
specifically quoting somebody.
well, I thought testing was going to be starting on September 30th. They told me they had concerns about Gabriella.
They had concerns about whether or not, what concerns, well, never mind, strike that.
They just saw
Okay.
that she was not entirely right.
Your testimony is that Lewis disregarded any concerns you might have about the child being autistic?
Yes. No. I'm not sure. When we talked about it, he denies it. When he was
That's
in-
what I want
Yeah.
from you. You had a conversation with Lewis about the possibility this child had autism, correct?
I had issues.
Issues,
Specifically, when I had talked to him, I did
Okay.
not know what.
issues meaning in terms of what? Her mental ability
Yeah.
or her behavior?
Yeah, behavior and her mental ability.
And what was his response?
He just denied it.
Denied it. So
Yeah.
that means he didn't believe it? Is
Yeah.
that the impression that you got
Yeah,
based on the
the
words?
impression I got was that he did not believe it.
Okay. And what did you think when he said that to you?
I didn't think anything. I was just like, I'll have to have her tested. I see what's going on with my child, and I'll have to have her professionally evaluated.
Okay.
And I have recently took her to Little Left Foot Children's Therapy, and she has seen 2 therapists.
Okay, let's
That's very
talk about
important.
that. What did you do?
I had took her to Little Left Foot Children's Therapy for my concern with speech when I had took her there.
And did you tell, or when, if ever, did you tell Lewis about the fact that you were taking her there?
Yes,
You did?
yes.
And so what did he say about that?
He said okay,
Okay meaning what?
like that's fine. That's what I interpreted.
So did you take her?
Yes.
Is Gabriella seeing any kind of therapist currently?
Yeah, recently she got a permanent therapist. She has only seen 2 therapists so
For
far.
what?
They had said that they saw tics, that she has a trouble pronouncing words in the middle and the last.
16.
Okay.
I have the
So hold on,
information with
hold
me.
on, hold on, hold on. You're saying she's in therapy now, correct?
Correct.
Is Lewis, to your knowledge, when, if ever, did you communicate with Lewis that she needed to go for therapy?
I took her for
Objection,
speech.
facts not in evidence, and you go to therapy, Your Honor.
Well, she just testified that,
The question was when, if ever. It didn't assume something was in evidence. It asked when, if ever, did she.
did you
Including
communicate
that
with
discussion,
Lewis
so it's
about
okay.
therapy?
Yes,
You did.
yes.
And what
I,
was his,
I
what was,
expressed the speech concern
okay,
specifically.
you did.
Mhm.
And what did he say about the speech concern?
Nothing.
What does nothing mean?
He just says okay.
Okay, so has he asked any, when, if ever, has he asked any follow-up questions about that?
No.
Objection foundation, Your Honor, date, timelines would be helpful.
Okay. What's his name?
When approximately did this conversation take place about your concerns about speech with Lewis?
It was,
I'm sorry, it wasn't a conversation. Where did you, how have you been communicating with him? I think you've said it. a
my
few
mother
times.
has been communicating with him.
What about, didn't you say on the app?
Yeah, on the app I let him know about her doctors, and that's when he got like the specific place, but I expressed to him that I had concerns about speech before, yes.
Okay. And he said, has he, or when was this approximately, that talk that you had with him, or that communication, let me use that word, with him about possible concerns about her speech?
It has been discussed for quite some time between my mother and him.
Give me a month,
About
approximately,
2 years
and a
ago,
year.
when
What
she
year?
started, she could not speak full sentences, or even now, let alone 2. She's always had speech problems.
When did you have, approximately, when did you have your conversation or your communication with Lewis about your concerns about
Speech.
Gabriella's speech?
2 months ago.
Okay, 2019,
Correct.
around August or September 2019, is that fair?
September, yeah.
Okay, and since then, what communications, if ever, if any, has he had with you to follow up?
I updated him in the app. He just would respond in the app.
So has he expressed any concern?
No.
And the last question about this is, has he followed up with any concerns about her possible autism?
No.
Objection calls for speculation, she doesn't know if he did.
Well, I'm asking, according to you,
16.
has he ever communicated with you since then about the possibility of her having, being autistic?
No. I took her to,
Stop. Stop.
signed her up.
Only a few more questions, Your Honor.
Okay.
Is there anything else, or what else, if anything, do you want to tell the court about where you believe that Gabriella should reside?
Yes, Gabriella, she is, very happy with me. I will do anything to make sure that I fulfill what's going on with her and any decision she decides to make. I will support. I will do anything I need to do for my daughter to succeed in life. And I will make sure that he has a relationship with his kid and that Gabriella will be the best, she can become the best thing that she wants to be. And I will support her in every way and do everything I can for her.
I'll pass the witness.
Thank you. You testified that you were living in New Jersey at the time that Gabriella was born, but you delivered her in Pennsylvania, correct?
Correct.
And then you testified that you're from Pennsylvania?
Yes.
And how long did you live in Pennsylvania?
Basically my whole life, I would say it's where I'm from.
So, and when did you move to New Jersey?
When I came back, 2013.
And do you still have family in Pennsylvania?
No.
Where do you have family?
Well, actually I do. I have a sister.
Where is she?
She's in Broadheadsville, Pennsylvania.
And how old is she?
27.
And does she have kids?
One son, yes.
And how old is he?
2.
Okay. And you testified that you moved to graduate school, right?
Yes, I found out I was pregnant.
Okay. So
No,
when
I didn't move to graduate school. Do you mean high school?
Yeah, object to that, it's a mischaracterization, we didn't hear the word graduate.
Sustained, I haven't gotten any, I don't think she's finished college yet, was the
No, I
testimony.
understand. I was confused by that. I do believe she said graduate, but I'll
Okay.
withdraw.
Hey, I tried.
And that you went to school of some sort, right? Medical billing of something sort?
Medical assistant.
And when did you do that?
That was, I started August 12th of 2015.
So this is right after Gabriella was born?
Correct.
And where was this school located?
Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Okay. So Gabriella was born in June. 2 months later, you started school at Allentown.
Correct.
Your mom, though, was not living in Allentown, right?
No,
Where was your mom living?
in New Jersey.
And how far was your mom's home from Allentown?
I would say it's about 30 minutes on the highway.
And who did you live with in Allentown?
I lived by myself. I had a room to rent. But
Where
at the
did
time that I gave birth, I was living with a friend.
Okay, so you were living with a friend in New Jersey?
No, like, when I started school, that's when I had moved. But that was later. That was when she was 6 months.
Okay, you just testified that your school started on August 12th,
Yeah.
2015.
Yeah,
Your daughter was born in June.
correct.
You understand that's 2 months apart, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So how did you move when she was 6 months old? I'm sorry, I'm a little confused
I was
on your
traveling
timing.
back and forth, and then I decided it was a lot to commute, coming back to see her after school, then going back to Allentown to go to work. Then, like, I had one job at the time, then I got 2. It was just the commute was a lot.
You recall your mom testifying, though, that you did not live with her after your daughter was born, correct?
No, soon after I moved, very soon after.
How soon after?
The 6 months. I was there I went back and
But your
forth for
mom-
6 months.
You recall your mom
Well,
testified
Let her
that-
answer, I'm sorry, objection.
I was back, yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, no, she asked for the clarification, sort of clarified it. You can go on, go ahead.
But how do you explain your mom thinking that you were not living with her after your daughter was born?
Excuse me?
How do you explain, why do you think your mom thinks you didn't live with her after your daughter was born?
Objection, calls for speculation.
I shortly moved.
Stop,
If you know.
stop.
Okay,
When I object, stop.
okay.
Yeah, you need to lay a foundation whether she has an opinion about it or not, so,
Do you
yeah,
have-
so sustain.
And if you know, why do you think your mom might think that you did not live with her when you were going to school in Allentown?
I'm confused on the question.
Do you have any idea why your mom might think you were not living with her after your daughter was born?
Objection, I still think it calls for speculation.
No, she referred to her mother's testimony earlier in the trial regarding what the status of her living arrangement with her mom was shortly after the birth, and what she's saying is the mom categorized that as her not living with her. She's asking her why her mom would say that when she's saying that she was living with her.
Maybe because the baby eventually, like, I'm confused. I don't understand the question.
Okay. Alright, so you started school in Allentown on August 12th, 2015, and when did
Objection,
you?
asked and answered.
It's
So,
leading
no
into my
question.
question, I'm sorry.
Well, let's just leave it in the question,
Yeah,
yeah,
it is.
overruled, you can set the question up, so.
Okay, so if I may again, you started school at Allentown in August 12th, 2015, correct?
Yes.
When did you complete school there?
I had a month left when I had left.
Okay, and when is that?
I'm honestly, I don't know the date. I'm not sure.
You had 1 month left.
I know I knew the graduation date, but I did not meet the graduation date.
And when was the graduation?
It was July of 2018, if I'm not mistaken. 2017? Yeah, 2007. No.
July of 2017?
July of 2016. Yeah.
Okay. So you had 1 month left?
Yes.
But you did not stay?
No, it was like medical and billing or something.
Where did you go?
I just decided not to pursue the schooling.
And why is that?
It just was not for me. I wanted to be more, like, it was just blood pressures, initial intake. I wanted to be like more involved, like with like an RN or something. I just decided to go through a different program. That's what was my plan.
So what program did you decide to go to?
I didn't. I just decided I was going to go differently. Because I originally was going to be an EMT, and then I said I'll just do that, and then I just got cold feet.
Okay, so had you completed this program, you would have been able to get a job? And then
Objection, calls for
do you think?
speculation. I
Sustained.
mean,
So had you completed this program, what degree would you have?
It would have been a certificate.
And what kind of jobs would this qualify you for, if you know?
It would have been minimum wage. It would have been on medical assistance, like basic clinical procedures, basically. Just
So why did you enroll in this program?
I enrolled because my grandmother was a nurse, and I wanted to do that. Then I soon realized that maybe I didn't want to do that. I only wanted to do that because of her.
How much was this program?
18,000.
And did you pay that?
No, I make payments.
And
In order to get a tax return, you have to make payments.
do you still make payments on this?
No,
Did you just stop making payments?
I plan to.
When did you stop making payments?
I spoke to them. They're aware of the situation. I contact them. I keep in
Objection, you're
contact.
say you're under non-responsive.
Sustained.
When did you stop making payments?
I'm honestly not sure. I know I called them about a year ago.
What is your minimum?
They said they would call back in 6 months, and then
What is your minimum monthly payment to this obligation?
I'm not
I'm
sure.
gonna object this to be, first, it's beyond the scope of direct, and second, relevancy.
Irrelevant.
Well, beyond scope of direct, sustained, relevancy, I think they're asking for primary custody, so they want to get at what her child support obligation would be, I assume, so it's relevant.
And-
But it is outside the scope. It'd be something that'd be better taken on if you call her on direct, which I
Perhaps
would
we-
love to just economically handle this. We're into a second day of a trial. It's got somebody coming in from.
I mean,
May I,
it,
Your Honor, with the court's permission and counsel, can we stipulate the approach as direct and cross so we can?
If you guys are agreeable, I will always allow that. If you're not, then we'll just follow the
I'm
natural
okay
order
with
of
that.
things. Okay,
for judicial economy
Thank you.
okay,
purposes.
great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. And, so I'll go back very quickly to this loan. How did you get this loan, $18,000? Is it a loan, I'm assuming?
Yeah. No. Was it a loan? That was through school. It wasn't a loan. It went right towards the school.
Okay. All right.
It was a loan, but it was not in my pocket. It went to school. Okay.
You said that Lewis was present 3 days in the hospital when the baby was born,
Correct.
and were you in the hospital for 3 days?
Yes.
Did you leave, were you discharged at the same time as the baby?
Yes.
And And then you testified that you saw him again at 2 weeks, and then at 2 months, he came, and then after that, he came only every few months in between, right?
Yes.
But do you recall your mom testified that he stopped by once every 3 weeks?
No, I'm not sure where, like, maybe I wasn't there, but I'm not, to me, I remember him being there at 2 weeks, coming at 2 months, and then not seeing him till 6 months, and then not seeing him after that.
And
Months
you
apart.
recall your mom also testified, and you confirmed today, that he handed your mom child support every week, right?
He would, that was for some time, and then I created a bank account.
For how much time would he drop off?
I don't know, he would see me right afterwards, like on his bank statements he submitted, he would go from the ATM in Phillipsburg to then Wawa 299 where I was on shift working at, when he could have just handed me the child support for his child. He would prefer and put my mom in between and deal with my mom due to his reasons.
When did you work at Wawa? What were the dates?
I'm not entirely sure, I believe it's submitted in here, maybe page 8.
I'm not asking you to look at pages, I'm sorry, I'm just asking you when.
I'm not entirely sure, I know I worked there for almost a few, I think of like a few months, it was a good job, I enjoyed it.
You were asked about your communication with Louis during that, after Gabriella was born. You first testified we did not speak. He was working and involved with his truck driving business, right? His truck
No,
driving.
She's telling me she doesn't understand, just say that loud.
like, I'm confused.
Okay.
I'm gonna go back to that.
Yes, please.
You testified that one of the things you did with your daughter was you would hold her every day and she had colicky moments.
Yes, she was always,
Describe what would she do when she was colicky?
it would take 6 people to, constantly like hold her, and she would not be put down, and she was a very colicky baby.
And what does that mean to you, colicky?
Like, she would cry, she would cry very loud, constantly. Day and night.
You were asked about your mom's role in Gabriella's early days, right? You told your attorney that your mom was there to help you, right?
Yes.
Do you recall all the filings you filed, these verified papers that you filed in court, where you tell the court that your daughter has been raised by your mom since the day she was born, right?
Raised together, I was there, I was
But
there.
your papers didn't say that before, right?
No, Carrot, since I put that the child has lived with my parents since birth, Carrot and myself, period. That was just a grammatical error. I have proof that I've been with my child with me today, since birth. Thousands of pictures throughout time.
Selena, when did you file your complaint for custody?
Would that be January of 2019?
Right.
I'm not sure.
Actually,
It was
it was
after the guardianship hearing.
Right.
It was before that.
Actually January 14th, 2019 that you filed your complaint for divorce, right?
For divorce?
For custody, right?
Correct.
And isn't that the same day that Mr. Negron filed his objection to your mother's guardianship petition?
No, it wasn't. I filed for custody the day or two before that. It wasn't the same day.
Your Honor, I'd ask the court to take judicial notice of the filing of Mr. Negron's objection to the petition, as well as mom's complaint.
Forsberg said she was filing a pickup order
Sure.
and to be there. That's why we had got to the bottom of that.
Your Honor, move to strike unresponsive.
It looks, based on the electronic record, the objection itself was filed on January 14th, 2019.
Correct.
In this case, was filed on January 15th.
So, thank you, Your Honor.
So wait, can I clarify? custody was filed January 15th, or the guardianship hearing?
Don't worry, I'll move on.
Custody. Custody on the 15th, the objection on the 14th.
Correct. So when you filed.
I had the papers with me that day.
When you.
Forsberg
so
saw them.
You, before Mr. Negron filed his objection to your mom's guardianship petition.
That's incorrect.
You had no objection to your mom's guardianship petition, right?
It was temporary guardianship. He did not, he signed it. There was guardianships I didn't sign, he did.
You understand that the guardianship your mom was seeking was general, correct?
It was temporary.
Okay. You understand that your mom made an allegation that you were not able to take care of your child. And
She
you
did
were-
not understand
excuse
the
me,
question.
And you were moving, you were in and out of the home, and you were moving around a lot. You understand your mom wrote that in her petition, correct?
Wait, when was that petition?
I mean, if you have a quote, counsel,
Okay.
or a paragraph,
Yes.
Which petition did she file?
she's gonna tell you.
No, I'm just wondering.
So,
Oh, okay, you're saying guardianship petition.
alright, I direct your attention to page 182 of Exhibit B. I'm not sure if this
Which
document
quote?
has already been admitted, Your Honor, but it is a file document.
Where is it?
Yeah, it's been admitted
Okay, thank you.
already. Yeah.
I'm sorry, page one,
This is Exhibit B. This is
Bates 182.
defendants B.
guardianship petition,
Guardianship petition, Bates 182. I'm showing it was admitted at our last meeting.
Okay. And so you see that, that's your mom's petition, right?
I'm not there yet. I'm in B, but I don't see 182.
Yeah, just go to page 182 at the bottom right. It's quite a bit.
I'm
It's-
sorry.
Oh, there's a big, okay.
We exited, we admitted it as B1.
Yes.
It's well into the B exhibit. And it's actually an exhibit within an exhibit. It's on date stamp 182, down at the right corner.
See 187, 185.
You're probably in the body of the
Okay.
Thing now, right now. There you go.
I got it.
Okay, so this is your mother's petition, right? She served this on you?
Correct, on us.
Yes. And, your mom is seeking guardianship of your daughter, and you see that she's seeking general guardianship over your daughter, correct?
May I note something, Judge?
Let's wait for a question.
Okay. This,
No, wait for a question.
okay.
And, in this petition, your mom states that you, on page 185, your mom states that she's caring for your daughter because, and I quote your mom, "The mom was young and wasn't ready, and the father's living arrangement doesn't fit her, and he works a lot." Right? That's what your mom alleged in her petition?
This petition is the same petition as the guardianship that was filed before. The clerk said, just to get it approved, they grabbed the same attachment from the previous guardianship filed, and it's the same exact
Okay, you're
one.
gonna move to strike as hearsay and unresponsive.
Sustain.
Okay, let me ask you this.
And
On
Lewis
page-
told her to go for this guardianship this day, and what to say.
Page 186 of this petition, your mom lists your address in Saylorsburg, Pennsylvania.
Wait,
correct?
where's this?
Page 186.
What date is this?
It's page 186. Page 180, yeah, 186 of the same petition.
5 of 9 of the petition, the base stamp is 186. Exhibit B1.
Oh, but this is this exhibit, and this is, what's the date that this was filed,
I'm not asking you
6/14?
the date, ma'am, I'm asking you, your mom lists your address in
Oh, this is 2018?
Saylorsburg, Pennsylvania, correct?
Okay,
is there a question? Stop,
okay.
listen to her question.
Mhm.
Objection, there's no question.
I asked her, your mom lists your address as Saylorsburg,
That was the
Pennsylvania?
question. Yeah, on that page, in this exhibit, your mom lists your address as Pennsylvania.
That, I
Correct.
still had the same ID with that address on it at the time,
Okay, alright, so was your mom lying to
If-
the court?
if I'm not
Objection.
mistaken.
I mean-
Calls for speculation, Your Honor.
How, where, she's, there's
The
only one of
document
them.
speaks for itself. You can't ask whether or not mom was lying
They-
or not.
Well,